if you have the books with you, you can also recite with me. So let's start. I know why the caged bird sings. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged birds sing with fearful thrill of the things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wings soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Maya Angelou. So that's the poem we have today for our study. So you are clear with the history, you are clear with the background, you know who the person is who is penning down this poem. That's Maya Angelou, a representative of the black community of America. So with that knowledge in our mind, we'll go to the poem. So as far as you can see, I suppose, you are clear that the poem is quite a lengthy one. How many stanzas do we have in the poem? Count and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, 6 stanzas are there. Rather a lengthy poem. Can you check whether there is a rhyming pattern or rhyming pairs of words, so things like that? So if you just rush through the poem, you'll see that there is no particular rhyming pattern to be seen as a significant feature of the poem. So if you just check the final words of each and every line, leaves, wing, stream, ends, wings, rays, sky, actually no rhyming pattern we see there, no particular rhyming pattern. So it comes closer to a free verse pattern. So we'll see. I think that the poetess has quite freed herself from all the restrictions of poetry as well as of life. She had freed herself from all the restrictions of writing poetry. She had freed herself from all the restriction of life as well. So that's what a searcher of freedom longs for. So here we can get Maya Angelou in constant search for freedom. Freedom which is granted legally but not enjoyed practically. So she's in a struggle to find that freedom. So that effort is found in the poem as well, in the structure of the poem as well, because we don't see any particular rhyming pattern. She does not restrict herself to any kind of rules or regulation in writing poetry. She is totally free. That's what she longs for. So here, children, we'll move on to the first stanza. I think that by now, because you have followed a course of literature in grade 10, by now you are familiar with what stanzas and rhyming patterns are. So implying that I'm continuing with these things, with these words. So we'll go to the first stanza. Here the poetess is talking about a free bird in the first stanza. First stanza, the poetess is talking about a free bird. What do you understand by free bird? Actually, all birds are free, aren't they? Yes, all birds are free because they fly high in the sky. They enjoy the warmth of the wind. They enjoy the breezes. They enjoy the sunshine and everything. So all birds are free, actually free than ourselves, free than human beings. So all birds are free, but particularly Maya Angelou is talking about a free bird in the first stanza. So she says, the free bird leaps. The free bird leaps. The free bird leaps. Where does the free bird leap? On the back of the wind. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind. Back of the wind. Have you seen birds leaping on the back of the wind? Anyway, have you seen wind? No, we can't. None of us can see wind. We can only feel wind. We can see wind only when the leaves are rustling. You can hear the wind. When the branches are shaking, you can see the wind. Those are the only ways we can find out that the wind is there. But here the poet says, the free bird leaps, jumps with the on the back of the wind. So very light. It is an image the poetess produces as an image of lightness. So the bird has become so light it can hold it onto the wind and jump with the wind. That's what she says there. Then she goes on to say, floats downstream till the current ends. Then what does the free bird do? It floats. It floats downstream. Pahalata, pavenava, downstream till the current end. Till the current ends. What is this current the poet is talking about? Current is the force of the river, the force of the water. Till the force of the water ends, the bird floats on water. So it's a kind of a peculiar image she is creating there. So not only the free bird leaps with the wind, it floats with the water and dips his wings in the orange sun rays. The next action of the free bird dips his wings in the orange sun rays. Wings in the orange sun rays. What do you mean by that? Orange sun rays. That means the bird enjoys the warmth of the sun when the sun rays are orange in color, dips the wings in the orange sun rays. And finally, the final line of the first stanza, and dares to claim the sky. Finally, what does he do after enjoying all these things? It leaps on the back of the wind, it floats downstream till the current ends, it dips its wings in the orange sun rays, and finally what does it do? It claims. Claiming means you say that it belongs to me, it's mine. So it claims. What does it claim? Yes, it claims the sky. It says, the bird says, the sky is mine. It dares to claim that. Dares means without any fear, without any any restrictions, any fear. It says, it claims, it dares to claim that the sky is mine. It is the owner of the sky. The sky does not belong to anyone else. This sky is mine. So that's what the free bird says. Did you understand the first stanza? So here at the very beginning we get three actions of the free bird. How the bird enjoys the environment, the natural environment, how free he feels and how light he feels in this environment. It is actually a peaceful, satisfied, joyful tone created here in the first stanza. Who's feeling peaceful, who's feeling satisfied, and who's feeling happy is the free bird who's feeling inside, who's feeling such emotions, who's enjoying such emotions. So these are the feelings of a free bird. Right. So with that knowledge, we'll move on to the second stanza. And did you notice, children, this, if you carefully look at the second stanza starts with a but. So you know, through your experience in poetry, if you start something with a but, that means you are going to give a kind of a contrasting image following the one you have given earlier. So this but suggests, do you think that in the second stanza we will be able to have such a beautiful image? I don't think so, because it starts with the contradictory word but. So we'll see what we find in the second stanza. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage. So this time the poetess is talking about a bird. What type of a bird? A bird that stalks in his narrow cage. There's a cage and the bird is inside the cage. The poetess gives us a particular description of the cage as well. The cage is narrow, not wide. It is narrow, right? So the bird's space is limited to a narrow cage. The bird cannot fly. The only movement it is capable of is stalking. Stalk කියලා කියන්නේ balance නැතුව වගේ ඊට මෙහෙට චුට්ටක් ඇවිදිනවා. Stalking. So the bird that stalks down his narrow cage. So what sort of a bird is this? Is it also a free bird? No, it should be. If it is inside a narrow cage and if it cannot fly, instead if it is stalking, this bird should be called as a captive, a caged bird. So this time we meet a caged bird here in the second stanza. Can seldom see through his bars of rage. So this bird is inside a cage. I suppose that you have seen birds' cages, no? They are something like this. You have a cage like this, no? It is hanging somewhere and you have some bars like this here. Bars are there. These are called bars. Sometimes if the owners are wealthy, they can have golden cages as well, not only the steel cages, the golden cages as well. And here you get a small kind of a door, and inside a horizontal kind of a bar is there, and sometimes you get a ring or something also there inside, and the bird is placed here. Isn't that so? So this is the cage of a bird. So the bird can only see through these bars. These are the bars, no? So the bird can only see through these bars. So the poetess does not hesitate to call these bars as bars of rage. She calls these bars as bars of rage. Rage means anger. Bars of anger. Why do these bars create anger in the bird? Because once you see the bars in front of you, you are always reminded that you are a captive. Just imagine if we have bars in front of us, and if we are kept in a place, a restricted place, a limited place, then of course we feel the stress. I think by now you are experiencing that, because you are limited to you are restricted to your homes, and that even we feel a kind of a discomfort for us, an extreme discomfort for us. We feel so stressful. So if it is the case with you, just imagine if the bird, if he had been a captive through its entire life, the feelings of the bird, you'll have to understand. You'll have to be empathetic. So when the bird sees these bars, it creates anger. The bars create anger in the bird. That's why the poetess had been tactful enough to call the bass as the bass of rage. So the bird, this bird, the caged bird, can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped, so not only he is placed here inside the cage, his wings are clipped. Clipped means චූටි කෑල්ලක් කපලා දාලා කියන එක. Sometimes they clip the wings of the birds when you rear birds inside, not totally, but a slight part of it, slight part of the wings. So then, even if the bird is free, if you free the bird, the bird will not be able to fly because it loses its balance once your wings are clipped like that. So, very brutal act, quite a brutal act. These men called humans, they call themselves humans, but they engage in totally inhuman acts. So his wings are clipped and even his feet are tied. Look at that. Wings are clipped, feet are tied. That's why the bird is talking. It can't walk properly. The bird is talking because its feet are tied and placed inside a cage. That is the cage bird. He opens his throat to sing. So he doesn't have any other thing to do. The only thing he is free to do is to raise his voice. The only action he is capable of, the only move he is capable of, not the physical movements, not the physical movements, only the vocal movements, that's voicing himself. So that is the only ability of the caged bird. Now, when we come to the end of the second stanza, did you notice the difference, the heavy contrast between the first stanza and the second stanza? By the way, what is the tone created in the second stanza? I discussed about the tone created in the first stanza. Can you remember the mood the tone suggested? A happy, joyful, calm, peaceful tone was suggested in the first stanza. What about the tone of the second stanza? It is a dark tone, a dull tone, critical tone, heavy tone. We do not feel happy when we read the second stanza. The same kind of feeling applies to the bird himself, even more actually, because if he feels 70% empathetic, the actual feeling is 100%. You have to imagine that. If you feel 70% of the sadness of the sufferer is suffering from 100% of sadness. So just imagine that. So that is the dark and dull and unnerving, frustrating tone created in the second stanza. So the second stanza is a total contrast from the first stanza. That means we got Maya Angelou comparing a free bird with a caged bird. Now we know the mentalities of the two types of birds. Right. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Now I told you in my setting the background that Maya Angelou was talking about racial discrimination in America during her time. The struggle between the white Americans and the black Americans. The color discrimination. I told you, I gave you such an information at the very beginning. So where do you see white Americans and where do you see black Americans in the poem? Do you see white Americans in the poem or can you see white Americans in the poem? Yes, they are not directly pointed at, they are implied. White Americans and black Americans are implied through two images. What are the two images? I suppose that you can understand now the two images. The two images are the caged bird and earlier we found the free bird. So who do you think free bird. Yes, it's an easy guess, I suppose. Free bird who enjoys all the privileges of America and who claims that this country belongs to us while enjoying all the privileges. Those are the white Americans. So free birds are the whites, white Americans, and then who should be the caged bird? Caged bird should be the blacks. So, what do you call this device? Actually, this is a device utilized by the pointers. What do you call this device? Implying images to give you images implying giving you different pictures of what the writer or the poet wants to deliver. Yes, this device is called metaphor. So the poetess is using very powerful metaphors here, two kinds of metaphors. Caged bird as a metaphor to indicate the blacks of America, and the free bird as a metaphor to indicate, to show the whites of America. So that is a device that she is using. They are very powerful, very effective metaphor she is using there. Right. Then we'll move on to the third stanza. The caged bird sings with fearful trill. So she is still continuing with the image of the caged bird. It is rather an extension of the second stanza. The caged bird sings with fearful trill. So we stop the second stanza with the line telling us that the caged bird opens his throat to sing because that was the only capacity of its movements. So this song that he is ready to sing is a kind of a fearful trill. What's a trill? Trill is the sound, the musical sound produced by birds. So birds are all capable of producing musical sounds. So you call that musical sound as a trill. So this caged bird produces a musical sound. It is able of producing a musical sound, but the poetess says it's a fearful one. The tone is fearful. Why? Because we know the reason. Its freedom is limited. It is being oppressed all the time. Everyone is there outside its cave, longing to stamp him down. Isn't it so? So because of that, its musical voice it is capable of producing is fearful. It's not a happy song. It's not a joyful song. It is a song produced in fear. Even to make a voice, the caged bird is not free. Right? With fearful trill. And what does it sing? Of the things unknown. What does he long to sing of? He longs to sing of freedom. He wants to sing about freedom. That's what he yearns for. That's his only hope, only belief and only hope. So he is longing to sing about freedom, and he doesn't know anything about freedom. Why? From the day he was born to this world, he had been a captive of the white society. So now, So now to the image of the caged bird, you have to always think about the black people. To the image of the free bird, you have to think about the white people in America. So that's why I say now, from the day the caged bird is born to the world, to the land of America, he has experienced suppression. He has experienced segregation. He has experienced oppression. Suppression, oppression, segregation, and discrimination as well. So find out what all these words mean. Right. So because of that, he doesn't know anything about freedom, but still he sings of freedom. because he yearns for it. But longs for still, the same thing I meant there. But long for still, he is longing for it. He's expecting it. He's waiting for it. But long for still. He doesn't know what freedom means. He doesn't know what's its color, how he feels once he have freedom. But anyway, he's expecting it. He's longing for it. He's waiting for it. And his tune is heard. So once he started singing, his tune is heard. His voice is heard. On the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. So his voice reaches far away places, distant hills of America maybe, or maybe the other countries, maybe the European countries, maybe up to Asia, maybe up to Australia. So the voice of the black people was heard even to the distant places, and he sings of freedom. So that is what the cage bird does.